Welcome. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about self-love because it's really important to your well-being, to your sense of safety, to your ability to be you, the real you, and to live with ease. And because if you're like most people, I imagine you do a lot of pushing and a lot of judging and a lot of expecting a lot from yourself. And I imagine you could do with a lot more loving. So self-care is an important act of self-love. Practicing yoga, eating good food, getting enough sleep, saying no when you want to say no, saying yes when you want to say yes, being in nature, setting boundaries, and doing things and being with the people that bring you joy. So these are all beautiful things to do for ourselves, to show ourselves that we love ourselves. But when was the last time that you actually spoke to yourself with love? See, the relationship that we have with ourselves goes far deeper than self-care. Self-care is just one element of it. And the reason I'm saying this to you now is because it's something that went under the radar of my awareness for quite some time. So I did all the things, but I didn't actually have an intentional, deep, supportive and ongoing relationship with myself. I didn't truly give myself the message that no matter what, I am here for you, being me. That no matter what, I wish the best for you. That I believe in you. That you can F up and I'm still going to love you. So when self-care is the only way that we show love to ourselves, we're actually neglecting ourselves. So think about a child. You can give a child food and shelter. You can make sure that they get enough sleep. You can pick them up when they fall over. But if you don't actually speak lovingly to that child on a daily basis, how do they know that you love and believe in them? How can they know that when they mess up, they still have your support? We cannot expect to be strong, resilient, authentic, to keep going for our goals, to do things that scare us, to own up to our mistakes, to be a good friend, if we don't feel truly, deeply, unendingly supported and loved by the only person who's with us 24/7, ourselves. All right, so this is crucial. So let's see what we can do here. So I'm going to mention some ways that we can love and support ourselves and really express that love and support with ourselves, to ourselves, that go beyond the normal daily self-care. So consider what you are doing already and also what you could maybe start doing or do more often. And before I go into that, just if self-love itself feels a bit weird, that is normal. Unfortunately, that is normal for most of us, for it to feel weird. Especially if you're maybe, going from like self-hate and maybe that was a habit for a long time. Maybe you can just about say that you like yourself. So if it feels weird, that's absolutely normal. My recommendation is just maybe start with one of the suggestions and just observe, how does it feel to be supported by myself in this way? So number one is to release self-criticism. So seeing if you can notice where you are being judgmental of yourself, and decide to speak kindly and lovingly. Number 2 is release the habit of catastrophizing. So if there's something that feels challenging or feels a bit scary, we can get a bit lost in the woods of our thoughts, and we can spend a lot of time dreaming up terrible futures for ourselves. And one way that we can really be supportive of ourselves is to notice when we're doing that and just to come back into the present, because that catastrophizing is only keeping us in a state of fear that's not actually going to help us cope with our challenges. Number 3 is be gentle with yourself in the process of change. So whatever it is that you're working on at the moment, whether it's this self-love thing or whether it's losing weight, whether it's public speaking, whatever it is that you're trying to do that's different in order to improve yourself, be gentle with yourself in the process, because change isn't linear and there's going to be a bit of back and forth. And if you can just keep supporting yourself and cheering yourself on like a parent at a child's hockey game or something, that is going to motivate you to keep going. But if you continue to judge, oh, I haven't changed yet, oh, why am I not there yet? Those judgments aren't actually going to fuel us. They're going to drain our energy. Right. Number 4 is appreciate yourself. We tend to over-focus on our shortcomings, but let's be honest. Think of all the things that you've achieved, all the things that you've lived through, all the gifts you have. So taking some moments every day to just remind yourself of what you actually are. Number 5 is to say I love you, or maybe high five yourself in the mirror. So maybe you scowl when you look at yourself in the mirror, or maybe you say things that aren't actually that great, and just starting to change that. Again, this probably will feel very strange in the beginning, and that's fine, but the more you do it, the more it becomes a habit. It becomes just something that you do. And again, just observing, how does it feel when I do this, over time? Number 6 is meditation. So I'm talking more about a compassionate meditation as opposed to mindfulness. So using words, maybe imagery, or just feelings of love, compassion and appreciation as you sit and meditate. So meditating with the purpose of loving yourself. Number 7 is allow yourself to be imperfect. It's not something that we need to hate ourselves for. So being aware of our faults or our weaknesses and loving ourselves anyway. Because again, if you think about a child, you wouldn't hold back love from a child because they were terrible at maths or because they broke a vase or something. Whatever it is that you judge yourself for. Number 8 is acknowledge moments of suffering. Even if you've done something bad in that moment to someone else. Acknowledge moments where you are suffering and speak with kindness and understanding toward yourself in those moments. So you could be speaking mentally or out loud, or you could just be using touch. So stroking your arm, putting a hand on your heart. Some acknowledgement that you are suffering. Also in that moment of suffering that you wish yourself well. So number 9 is daily practice. So reminding ourselves on a daily basis that we are here for ourselves, that we love ourselves. So find what works for you using maybe some of the things I've mentioned, maybe some other things that you discover. And create a daily practice of nurturing this very real and highly important relationship, the one between you and you. Right, so in addition to taking care of your body and doing all of the things that you do to create balance and well-being, on a daily basis, continuing to engage in a loving dialogue with yourself. Okay, so if we can truly master having a relationship with ourselves, a loving relationship with ourselves, all other relationships in our lives will flourish. And think about it, if you don't have yourself on your own side, if you don't know that you have yourself on your own side, challenges of life are going to feel so much harder. You're going to feel so much more alone. But when we feel that unending and unconditional support from within, life suddenly becomes softer, easier, happier. Alright, thank you so much for listening. I'm Rachael Ebanks-Scholes, and I hope that this has served you. And lastly, I want to remind you that life loves you.